The narrative begins with a girl fleeing from an anomaly that is pursuing her. Fortunately, a man by the name of Tajiro shows up just in time to chop the abnormality in half, saving the girl's life. Tajiro bemoans being overworked and declares his desire to go back to Japan when Quatter, his colleague, tries to compliment him on a job well done. These anomalies seem to have come out of nowhere more than 10 years ago, and reports of them spread throughout the world. A group of persons who would eventually be referred to as exorcists were assembled to combat these creatures. As Tajiro and his group are now returning from this expedition, Quatter tells him that it is their responsibility to keep anomalies a secret from the general public. Tajiro questions why they are unable to eliminate anomalies using contemporary weapons. Tajiro became even more irritated as a result of his family's involvement in this mess and the fact that nobody is aware of his actions. Since exorcists put their lives in danger to save others, Quatter fully understands him, and a little gratitude wouldn't hurt. When they have finished chatting, Quatter tells them about their next task. They are going to a far-off German village that will be hosting a festival in a few days, but for some reason, a strong anomaly has shown up. Tajiro's desire to lead a regular life could be fulfilled if they are able to vanquish this formidable creature from the Old Testament. Motivated to accomplish his objective, Tajiro searches the community for the abnormality as they arrive at their destination. He soon sees every villager fleeing for their lives, and upon closer inspection, he recognizes the appearance of the enormous beast. First, the restriction mages attempt to contain the beast by using their spells. Quatter takes advantage of this opportunity to launch an attack on it, but as anticipated, the beast not only escapes unscathed, but also manages to break free from its bonds. Tajiro observes that this abnormality is behaving strangely because it isn't going on a rampage and isn't intentionally causing harm. Tajiro doesn't care about any of that, though, as he charges the beast, but before he can move, a magic circle materializes beneath it. It is not the fault of any of the mages, and Tajiro ends up near the beast as well. He doesn't give up, though, and uses all of his strength to fight the beast, making a move powerful enough to sever one of its horns. The beast falls over the circle as a result, and then Tajiro is transported into a dreamlike state that contains the beast's memories by a bright light. There, he sees the moment the creator gave that beast a name and a mission to do. When Tajiro regains consciousness and lands safely on the ground, he discovers a fresh bruise on his finger. Tajiro is going to be crushed by the horn he severed earlier as Quatter calls at him to look up. In the end, it crashes into the ground, producing a dense cloud of smoke. When the dust settles, Tajiro is embraced by a thick mother. He attempts to flee from her while feeling both shocked and agitated, but her physical power prevents him from doing so. In the end, she stands up and tells Tajiro that she is a beast who will carry out her task. She then takes his hand and applies it to those delicious milkers. The girl presents herself as Behemoth, a divine beast who dominates all monsters, but Tajiro is too stunned to even react. Furthermore, under the rule of nature, she must die honorably if she is ever pursued. When Tajiro, perplexed, asks what she is trying to say, Behemoth tells him that her heart is now his and requests that he take it. After that, Tajiro goes back to his home in Japan and tries to convince Quatter that the Behemoth situation is not going to work. In response to Behemoth's observation that she finds it challenging to move around, Tajiro tells Quatter that Japanese ceiling is quite low for someone her size. The leaders of the world Exors are debating the appearance of a monstrous creature that subsequently changed into a humanoid form. Perplexed, everyone begins to consider their next course of action, and one of the leaders proposes temporarily detaining the monster. Because a Japanese boy had a significant influence on its metamorphosis, the former president of the United States suggests keeping it in Japan. The former president of Japan becomes alarmed upon hearing this and laments that he was abruptly given this position. However, the Japanese president is forced to accept the terms after the US president gives him an arrogant sidelong glance. Tajiro is still attempting to determine who set off the seal because he is curious about the memories he saw and whether they have anything to do with the bruise he received. More significantly, he is more preoccupied with the oddity remaining at his house because she continues to terrify him. He then observes that the giant appears to have the same bruising, and Quatter informs him that he has been told to live with her by higher authorities. When Tajiro tries to complain, however, Quatter reminds him of the first Exorcist law, which stipulates that all directives from above are final and must be carried out precisely and quickly. Quatter then makes the decision to depart, assuring Tajiro that he will remain close by. Additionally, he says that living with a beastly mother seems like a wonderful beginning to a narrative, therefore it doesn't seem all that horrible. After he departs, Behemoth decides to see how people live and breaks the window in an attempt to see outside. Then she turns around and accidentally uses her horn to destroy the ceiling. In response to Tojiro's frustration, Behemoth says that as she is the king of monsters and the bringer of destruction, it is impossible for her to avoid breaking something every time she moves. Tojiro becomes even more enraged by this revelation and yells at Behemoth, ordering her to keep the devastation to herself because they are renting. She eventually calms down, allowing Tojiro to repair all she ruined. Behemoth then asks him about his intention to consume her flesh, and she ends up flaunting her belly to show Tojiro how good her meat is. Tojiro, however, tells her that they have plenty of other food sources and coexist with people. He then prepares a meal for her, and as soon as Behemoth bites into it, she loses her mind. However, she asks for more even after consuming everything at his place, so Tojiro has to go get more. Tojiro is relieved that Behemoth at least pays attention to him when he speaks, despite his annoyance with her lack of consideration. Tojiro encounters Quatter during the shopping binge and tells him everything that transpired. Additionally, he makes an effort to convince Quatter that Behemoth might not be a bad guy and advises speaking to other anomalies in a similar manner, because you never know who might be open to hearing. However, Quatter claims that this is a very risky way of thinking because, although receiving special attention, they are still abnormalities that are readily eliminated. Quatter is happy that he is getting along with Behemoth, but he cautions Tojiro not to lower his guard because the monsters can go crazy at any time. When Tojiro tries to argue, his bruise abruptly begins to notify him that the engagement may be void because he has been 200 meters away from the subject for 10 minutes. Quart begins to wonder who the bruise talk is about, while Tojiro becomes alarmed upon hearing it. They both sense a powerful earthquake at the same moment, realizing that the subject must be enormous. Concerned, they leave the convenience shop and see Behemoth in her original shape. Tojiro is perplexed as to how this occurred, and although Quatter is unable to provide an explanation, he is well aware that if this keeps happening, things would only become worse. With no other option, Tojiro starts pleading with his bruise to take action. He is informed that this is not possible and is advised to try to soothe the monster instead. Quatter pulls out his revolver and tells Tojiro that they cannot allow her to damage the city or its residents after witnessing her roar and cause chaos. He doesn't know what it will take to calm her down, but if Behemoth continues on her rampage, the citizens may be harmed, and if nothing works, they may have to eradicate her. Both of them leap onto a house's roof, knowing that this is something he cannot allow to occur. In the end, Tojiro screams at Behemoth, urging her to stop causing trouble and take a seat right away. Surprisingly, she immediately sits down after listening to him. Quatter is relieved that they prevented her from trampling everything, while Tojiro is taken aback by how quickly she listened to him. At that moment, he detects something and instructs Tojiro to look up. When he complies, he sees a number of anomalies soaring in the air, which surprised them because there had been no reports of them in the vicinity. The two of them begin to question whether she is the one who called them, as an increasing number of those abnormalities begin to congregate around the giant. At this point, Tojiro begins to question the Behemoth's motivations as well, until he sees her punch a few of them to death while warning them not to destroy the human nest. She also lets out a roar strong enough to wipe out every anomaly in the area. After that, she transforms back into a human and tells them that the anomalies wanted to meet her, but she drove them away. Tojiro is pleased to see that she supports them, but after staring at her monstrous balloons, he is taken aback once more. The president is told everything that transpired later that evening. He responds that they have no choice except to imprison the monster when his assistant questions. Furthermore, the former president of Japan thinks that this might be their major opportunity. He claims that other nations have acquired enigmatic abilities, and that Japan would benefit greatly if Tojiro is able to subdue the giant in some way. He offers something like having Behemoth fall in love with him when asked what he meant by dominating her. His assistant is taken aback when she remarks that she didn't know he was interested in girly things. He responds that these things are quite significant. Tojiro chooses to request assistance from headquarters to keep an eye on the situation for the time being, even though it would be a dream come true if he could subdue the monster in that way. However, Tojiro grows optimistic that if they attempt to communicate with anomalies, they might be able to comprehend. Additionally, if they do this correctly, they may no longer need to eradicate them, allowing him to resume his normal life. Oddly enough, the Japanese president doesn't think his plan is ridiculous and has already devised the next task, which is to make Tajiro and the monster fall in love. After a few hours, the government repaired all the damage and quickly rebuilt the damaged structure. After that, Tajiro is told to stay in his home as previously, which surprises him because he had assumed the two of them would be placed under quarantine. However, the government representatives ask Tajiro to make a brief Discord call in case there are any issues, and then they go. Tajiro realizes that they are letting him remain with the giant, and he believes that things might improve if they can improve their communication skills. Behemoth is too preoccupied with watching TV to listen to him when he orders her not to go ruining stuff again. It turns out that she is watching a show about delicious food, and when Tajiro recognizes the location as Chinatown, she begins to stare at him while drooling. With no other option, Tajiro tells Quatter that he wants to take Behemoth to Chinatown because he thinks it will help the two of them get to know one another better. Following the recent event, Tajiro says that Behemoth is now essentially her guardian and no longer believes that he is wicked. When Quatter imagines Tajiro as a guardian, Tajiro becomes humiliated and tells Quatter that he's doing his best. Upon hearing this, Quatter calls someone and gives the phone to Tajiro, telling him that the person wants to speak to him directly. Without thinking much, Tajiro takes the call and, to his surprise, finds the Japanese president of Exorcist on the line. The president reassures Tajiro that he has their full support and asks him to treat Behemoth with great hospitality. Moreover, he lets Tajiro know that everyone wants him to get along with Behemoth, as if they get close enough, then maybe she will be willing to listen to what he has to say. Tajiro agrees with everything he said, and the president advises Tajiro to give her a guided tour. As if she finds it fun, Behemoth will likely want to protect it rather than destroy the place. Lastly, he asks Tajiro to build a special bond with Behemoth, one where beds might get shaken, and to think of this outing as a date. Later that day, he manages to take Behemoth out, which Tajiro finds harder than taking anomalies down. For someone who has no friends, dating someone or making them fall in love is a pretty tall task. Meanwhile, as Behemoth walks through the crowd, she catches everyone's attention as they can't seem to ignore how hot she is. After taking a look at her, Tajiro agrees with what the crowd is saying and decides to be the best escort ever. He then lets her know about all the guidebooks he has been reading and tells her all about the cool places they can visit. However, she gets distracted by a delicious smell and ends up running towards it. Before long, he gets lost in the crowd when, out of nowhere, Behemoth appears and grabs onto him, telling Tajiro that he walks too slowly, and since there are so many people, they might lose each other. Moreover, she asks him to hold on to her anywhere he wants, as this body of hers belongs to him. Holding hands, the two of them walk past the crowd, making everyone wonder about their relationship. Meanwhile, Tajiro starts getting embarrassed over the fact that they are holding hands, but tries reminding himself that they are only doing it so they don't get separated. As expected, Behemoth continues eating everything she finds along the way and mentions how human habitats are fascinating, as there are so many different flavors to food. Furthermore, she says that everything breaks when she gets too close, adding the fact that coming to his place in her original form would have been impossible. Surprised, Tajiro inquires if she was looking at this place from afar back then, to which she agrees, telling Tajiro that she doesn't want to hurt anyone just by being here. This makes him tell her that she is a really good person, making Behemoth question if he's really speaking this way about her. Tajiro agrees, telling her that it makes sense knowing that she wasn't trying to cause any damage and even listened to him the other day. However, Behemoth argues by saying that she's still an anomaly, the bringer of destruction, and Tajiro asks if she can really say that after everything. Just then, her tummy starts to rumble, and when Tajiro laughs, she gets a bit too close to his face, telling him that since he made her wish come true, he is a good person as well. Simultaneously, Quatter, who is keeping watch, is glad that things are going well between the two of them. He believes that taming Behemoth might not be a bad strategy, as if Tajiro can make her fall in love, he could control her thoughts. But to Quatter's shock, Tajiro is the one who's all flustered, making him realize that it's going the other way around. Annoyed, Quatter thinks to himself that Behemoth is supposed to be the maiden, not Tajiro, and says that if he keeps groveling like that, it would look like he's the one being tamed. While Quatter starts to wonder how he is going to report this to the headquarters, a few anomalies appear, telling Behemoth that letting humans live is bad and that she should slay all of them. Later that day, Quatter is busy reading about the connection between anomalies and mythologies. He finds out that these anomalies bear a striking resemblance to the ones depicted in local legends, and that some of them even intentionally take the form of creatures to match these legends. Seeing him busy reading, Tajuro mentions that he must really love books, to which Quatter agrees, telling him that anything with this topic is interesting. He further informs Tajuro that these myths and fairy tales also contain methods for defeating these creatures and asks him to give it a read, as it might be helpful to him in the future. Lastly, he questions Tajuro if he's beginning to grow curious about Behemoth as a woman, about the things she likes, or the guy she might be into. Flustered, Tajuro tells him that it's not like that, and while he finds it hard to believe, Quatter says that gathering information about her is still crucial since they need to tame her. This whole conversation makes Tajuro wonder if anomalies can really change their form, as being able to do that makes them even more mysterious. At the same time, some anomalies appear in the air duct of the bathroom where Behemoth is soaking her majestic figure. The grill suddenly falls on the floor, followed by those anomalies jumping down to take Behemoth out for good. Meanwhile, the two of them hear some strange noises coming from the bathroom, and before they could even check it out, Behemoth comes out running completely undressed and hugs Tajuro while attacking those anomalies using her tail. After coming back to his senses, Tajuro finds that giant balloon right in front of him, burying his face. Without wasting a second, he makes Behemoth wrap a towel around her body and questions the tiny creatures in his room. Quatter informs him that they are goblins, which comes as a surprise to Tajuro, as they are not as ugly as he imagined. Moreover, they don't do much else other than play pranks, so the goblins are rarely targeted for subjugation. Since reports of them attacking humans are extremely rare, this means that their target is the anomaly, that being Behemoth. Upon hearing this, Behemoth gets infuriated at them for dragging Tajuro into this mess and promises to utterly destroy each and every single one of them. Remembering that it's Behemoth's wish not to hurt anyone by her presence, he stops her from attacking them and decides to take care of the situation instead. An idea pops into his mind, and he tells Quatter to lend him the book he was reading earlier. After that, Tajuro goes through the book and eventually finds the chapter talking about goblins. Once he's done reading it, he hands a bag full of trash to Behemoth and tells her to scatter it everywhere. As soon as the goblins notice trash, they instantly shift their attention towards it and start cleaning the room. Seeing this, Tajuro tells the other two that it's exactly like the myth and explains that in the past, goblins were known as house sprites or fairies. While they love being mischievous, the book also states that a certain type of goblin used to help out with household chores. Once they are done cleaning the room, Tajuro praises them for doing a good job and gives those goblins a few biscuits as a reward. They all start to celebrate getting the reward and completely forget about their main purpose. Tajuro lets out a yawn after a job well done and tells Behemoth that no one got hurt this time, asking her not to worry about stuff and just stay with him for the time being. His words catch Behemoth by surprise, and she realizes that Tajuro is someone who is truly trying to grant her wish. In an attempt to show affection, she hugs him from the side, which, as expected, scares the maidenless fool. Afterward, Tajuro thinks about how strange it is for anomalies to target Behemoth and wonders if she is that much of a threat to them. Elsewhere, a girl is watching the live feed from Tajuro's room alongside the president. She mentions that the boy is in grave danger, but the president argues by saying that things are going pretty well, according to him. Hearing this, she tells the president that although they are desperate to appease these anomalies, they are still dangerous power holders who can destroy everything in the blink of an eye. As this is the true nature of these creatures, their excessive violence needs to be properly subdued with force. With that being said, she gets up and decides to borrow the strength of those who are progressional anomaly slayers. Later that night, Behemoth is dreaming about an event from her past when she visited a village, causing everyone to get scared and run away. However, that was not at all Behemoth's intentions, as she was not trying to destroy anything and wanted those people to stay. In the present, she wakes up and finds Tajiro sleeping next to him while it's raining outside. The next morning, Tajiro tries to go outside, but Behemoth doesn't let him and questions why he is trying to leave the Beast King alone. Tajiro lets her know that it's his turn to clean the ditch and wants her to stay at home, as she will just make it dirtier. Before long, Quatter arrives, excited about the different types of books he managed to secure. He then notices her standing outside the room and gets told by Behemoth that Tajiro left her behind. Surprised, Quatter thinks how amazing it is that she has become this attached to him and figures that the plan is going pretty well. Behemoth then notices the bag in his hand and asks him about it. Quatter informs her that it's a storybook, which is his hobby, and requests her to tell him her story. As being a divine beast, her story would become mythology. At first, Behemoth tells him that it's nothing special, but when Quatter insists, she lets him know that each time she visited nearby villages, she just ended up creating havoc. Apparently, she visited the villages out of curiosity for the human culture, but each of her visits destroyed houses, and before she knew it, the village became a wasteland. This is the reason she got the nickname Beast King, and since then, no one has approached her, and she has gotten used to being alone. After Behemoth's done with the story, Quatter notices her staring at Tajiro again and realizes that Tajiro even changed what was once normal for the Beast King. Seeing that Tajiro is taking his sweet time, Behemoth starts getting fidgety, which prompts Quatter to ask if she gets lonely without Tajiro. He further says that, unlike before, Tajiro is always by her side now, and it's rare even among humans how much he cares and protects her. Quatter believes that Behemoth is already a part of Tajiro's daily life and is no longer a lonely beast. Upon hearing this, Behemoth starts contemplating everything Quatter said, and at the same time, Tajiro finishes up his work and invites Behemoth to go out shopping. Memory of every single moment they have spent together comes rushing into her mind, causing the bruise to shine, and with a smile on her face, she agrees to go shopping with him. Tajiro then notices Quatter and asks if he wants to come along, but Quatter refuses and begins thinking about the marks on their fingers that changed based on their emotions. As the two of them are on their way to the supermarket, they unexpectedly get attacked by a chain blade. Just in time, Behemoth manages to protect Tajiro by shielding him with her body, and Quatter, who is also present nearby, notices that the attack wounded Behemoth's body. When Tajiro questions who that person is, the fine Chinese shorty asks Tajiro if he has already forgotten his senpai's face. Surprised, he asks what she is doing here, and the way he's speaking to her annoys the senpai a bit as she decides to properly teach him again. Quatter also recognizes her as the leader of Exorcist's highest-ranking extermination squad, Sonko Hebai. In an instant, Sonko appears behind Tajiro and licks the wound she gave him with his chain blade. Furthermore, she grabs his hand, telling Tajiro that he is not mentally prepared for this and that she will have to re-educate him. Bothered, Behemoth tries to hit her, but she escapes before that happens. When Behemoth asks about her from Tajiro, he lets her know that she's the highest-ranked elite exorcist who despises high-ranked anomalies. After telling Behemoth to fall back, he asks Sonko if she hasn't gotten the message from the headquarters yet. Although she heard the message, Sonko says that it's of no concern to her and attacks once again, telling him that the real problem is his accepting that order in the first place. Tajiro somehow holds off the attack and gets told to move away so she can exterminate it herself. Quatter eventually intervenes, telling them that they are still within city limits, but Sonko's partner tells him that it's fine, as they will be done in a minute. As Sonko continues to attack, Tajiro tells her that the behemoth taking human form is a super rare case, and tries to make her believe that the situation can be resolved with the power of friendship, just like he became friendly with the goblins the other day. He further tells Sonko that there's no need to subjugate Behemoth, and while she's a bit clumsy, she is still a good person. However, Sonko couldn't care less about any of it and says that beasts don't deserve any compassion and are to be annihilated. While they may be sentient, in the end, their fate as an anomaly remains the same. With that being said, Sonko tells Tajiro to get out of her way and attack Behemoth, which she managed to parry. Meanwhile, Behemoth asks Tajiro to stay away as the blade is pretty sharp, and lets him know that Sonko's attacks are easy to predict. Furthermore, Behemoth believes that only the strongest survive, and victory is all that matters. Lastly, Sonko tried to devour him, which is something Behemoth can't allow since she's the only one who's going to be devoured. Hearing the two of them converse annoys Sonko, and she sends an attack towards them, saying that the anomaly's mouth shouldn't spew human words. Behemoth struggles to defend against her each time and begins sustaining light injuries. Sonko then mentions that Behemoth will do anything to survive and believes that it's mimicking being human for some charade, which is why she is going to end it before it's too late. Seeing that Sonko is going to send a more powerful attack this time, Tajiro pushes her away, planning to tank the attack by himself. Seeing him in a tight spot, Behemoth loses control over her emotions and tells Sonko that she will not let her lay a finger on him, as she belongs to Tajiro and he belongs to her as well. With that being said, her mark starts shining once again and announces the unlocking of the limit break. Both Sonko and her partner are caught by surprise as Behemoth easily manages to break her chain blade apart, and after that, she unlocks the mass annihilation mode. Behemoth then fires an all-out attack at Sonko, and after witnessing the power behind that attack, it doesn't take long for Sonko to realize that it might be beyond her to defend against it. Luckily, the Japanese president's assistant manages to grab Sonko and take her out of harm's way in time, saving her from complete annihilation. Tajiro recognizes the two of them from the Japanese branch of Exors and reminds Sonko that she is only allowed to subjugate when she's ordered to, and that the Japanese branch will not allow any excessive violence in town. Furthermore, they inform her that Behemoth's transformation was caused by an increase in an unknown attribute, which is why they've concluded that reckless meddling with her is dangerous. With that being said, they take her away, and before leaving, Tajiro gets told by Sonko that she will never forgive him. Once everything is settled, he questions Behemoth about what just happened, to which she replies by saying that when she wanted to protect him, her body suddenly became easier to move. Tajiro finds it amazing and tells Behemoth that if she can move more easily, she might not wreck everything around her. Behemoth agrees, saying that it would be good, and gets advised by Tajiro to try as much as possible not to hurt anyone. Elsewhere, Quatter finds out about the people who ordered Sonko to subjugate Behemoth and gets asked by Sonko's partner for assistance, but she straight up declines, telling her that he's on Behemoth's team. She further comments on how they saw Tajiro after a long time and were stoked to come here, especially the captain. However, Sonko is not very stoked now and is bawling, saying that Tajiro is cheating on her with that big milker witch. She further complained about taking care of Tajiro for so long, only for him to betray her. However, both Quatter and her partner mention that Sonko's way of showing affection is a bit twisted. Nevertheless, he advises the two of them to withdraw from this mission, as fighting them is not exactly a walk in the park. Just then, he receives an emergency summon message on his phone, and so do the girls. Elsewhere, a boat is fighting against the strong tides of the coastal waters of the Ogasawara archipelago. One of the crewmen wonders if they hit a reef, and gets told by the other guy that it's impossible since they are in the middle of the sea. Suddenly, the boat stops responding, followed by the appearance of a giant fin that ends up destroying the boat. The following day, everyone is on their way to investigate this incident. Quatter explains that these incidents tend to happen at night, and all the rescued crewmen tell the same story, that they were headed towards an island, which explains the fact that it has to be the work of an anomaly. Meanwhile, both Sonko and Behemoth are eager to fight each other, and when Quatter asks them to have a temporary ceasefire, Sonko lets him know that she can't relax when there's an anomaly standing before her, and Behemoth seems to think the same thing. Sonko's partner, Elsie, reminds Sonko that she will get in trouble for picking a fight with Behemoth, and suggests having a get-together before the investigation begins. According to her, the anomaly only appears at night, so they should use this time to get to know their teammates better. Annoyed, Sonko asks if she's being serious and gets reminded by Elsie that she wanted to talk to Tajiro as well. After that, Elsie walks up to Tajiro, telling him that they will look after the Behemoth so he can have a nice, long chat with the captain. Hearing this, Tajiro freaks out but gets told by Elsie that Sonko is always worried about her, making Tajiro a bit unsure as he remembers the menacing look she gave him earlier. Nevertheless, she tells Tajiro that Sonko has a lot on her mind as well, to which Quatter agrees, saying that getting her on their side should be a top priority. Puzzled, Tajiro wonders how he can even achieve that, to which Elsie replies by saying that he can just sweet-talk her or even make a move. Eventually, everyone arrives at a nearby island, and the baddies don't waste a second wearing their swimsuits and revealing those busty curves of theirs. While Behemoth enjoys her time hanging out with Elsie and the others, Tajiro sneaks out to complete his mission. But unfortunately, he ends up running into the guys of the group, who are busy sunbathing. Seeing Tajiro, they invite him to hang out with them, but he instantly shuts them down, saying that he has stuff to do. Curious, they then ask if he's trying to win over Sonko, the one famous for being the most violent woman in Exors, and instead of helping Tajiro, they make fun of him and run away to play volleyball with Behemoth. Nevertheless, Tajiro continues his journey to complete the mission and thinks about how he might be slain if he gets too careless with Sonko. Although she might be scary now, Tajiro was assigned to her unit when he was young, and the back of the woman protecting him reassured him so much. She has always been kind to him, and if it weren't for the anomalies, she wouldn't be such a bad senpai. Sadly, his daydreaming session gets interrupted when Sonko appears behind him all of a sudden. Knowing that there's no place to run, Tajiro tries to calm himself down, reminding him that if he doesn't improve their relationship, it'll become a problem for everyone. With that in mind, he asks why she's not joining the others, to which Sonko replies by saying that she refuses to be in the same place as that anomaly. Furthermore, she questions the same thing to Tajiro, and he lets her know that he actually came to her. Sonko is caught by surprise hearing that, and judging by her reaction, Tajiro realizes that this is his chance. But little does he know that Sonko has already figured out that Elsie has put him up to this, but doesn't seem to mind since he's really cute in her eyes. After gathering up some courage, Tajiro tells her that she is as strong as ever, only to be mocked by Sonko for getting weak and not being able to see through such an easy attack she made the other day. While she's saying all that harsh stuff in Sonko's mind, she is glad to talk to him again after so long. Furthermore, she notices that Tajiro is showing too much skin, which turns her on, and she can't help but mention her desire to gobble him up. Just then, Sonko's eyes catch something unusual, and after walking up to him, she takes off his shirt, revealing all the scars he has been hiding. This prompts her to scold him for getting hurt like this again after she went away, but he still insists on hanging out with that anomaly. He tries to make her believe that Behemoth isn't evil and says that he knows people get injured and sometimes die. But this is something he wants to change and doesn't want people to die anymore, not Behemoth and not Sonko. Upon hearing this, Sonko can't help but smile and calls him a sweetheart, but at the same time says that his careless, naive idealism is what allows these anomalies to eliminate innocent people. She further adds by telling him that slaying anomalies is the only way to protect the innocence of the world. Suddenly, Behemoth feels the ground shaking, and Elsie also notices an island-like structure appear out of nowhere. Simultaneously, Sonko starts sensing a strange aura, and all of a sudden, a giant wave crashes into the two of them, throwing Tajiro into the ocean. Just as he surfaces above the water, Sonko yells at him to look below, where a giant fish is creeping toward Tajiro with its mouth wide open. Following that, everyone, including Elsie, Quatter, and Sonko, witnesses Tajiro getting devoured by the anomaly, and without wasting a second, Behemoth runs towards her, and after getting her footing right, she launches the energy beam attack towards that anomaly. Seeing this, Sonko quickly stops Behemoth using her chain blade, asking her if she is out of her mind. But when Behemoth tries arguing by reminding him of what happened to Tajiro, Sonko lets her know that they are unsure if he's dead yet, and if Tajiro's still inside its mouth, Behemoth blowing the anomaly away would eliminate him as well. She is caught by surprise after hearing this statement and begins to regret her actions. Meanwhile, Sonko advises everyone else to stay back because as long as that thing is lurking in the water, more people could die. With that being said, she dives underwater to take a look at that anomaly, keeping in mind that their top priority is to make sure that Scar-faced Virgin is still alive. After surfacing above water, Sonko notices Behemoth looking at her hand and calling Tajiro's name. Annoyed, Sonko questions if the two of them are communicating somehow, and before long, they start hearing his voice from the other end. Tajiro informs them that he is still alive and asks them not to attack the anomaly. Infuriated, Sonko asks if he is still going on about not wanting to hurt anomalies, to which Tajiro disagrees, informing her that he ended up inside the anomaly's stomach, where some other people are present as well. He believes that they must be the missing people from when the boat capsized and plans on getting them out. Moreover, he asks the girls if they can immobilize the anomaly without harming it somehow so he can make his escape. Although Sonko says that there's no way they can achieve that without harming it, Behemoth realizes something and dives underwater. After that, she tries grabbing it to restrict its movement, only to get smacked by the anomaly, forcing her to surface above water. But just as she is about to try one more time, Sonko stops her and gets reminded by Behemoth that Tajiro is asking for their help. Upon hearing her say that, Sonko starts to question her opinion of Behemoth, who, according to her, is a wild beast that runs on pure instincts. Ultimately, she changes her mind and comes up with a plan. But before anything else, Sonko tells Behemoth that in order to save Tajiro, she is going to have to do exactly what she says. Lastly, Sonko says that although she still despises her, Behemoth is currently expressing feelings that prove she is capable of caring for someone other than herself, which is why, for this once, Sonko will be putting her faith in her. With that, Behemoth once again dives underwater, and while she makes her way towards the anomaly, Sonko shoots her chain blade towards it, managing to wrap her weapon around the anomaly's body. This gives Behemoth the chance to freely charge towards the anomaly and punch its stomach as hard as she can, causing it to spit everything held inside its stomach. Once Tajiro and the others are out of danger's way, Elsie appears and electrocutes the anomaly. Before long, Tajiro also manages to get out of the ocean, and after running up to him, Behemoth gives him a big, tight hug, mentioning how glad she is to see him safe. Still worried, Tajiro asks them about the anomaly, and to his surprise, he finds that it is still alive, just unconscious. Elsie says that letting it roam freely will only cause more harm, and Quatter suggests exterminating it. But as expected of the soy boy, he seems to be against the idea of eliminating it, and says that there should be another way. On the other hand, Sonko still can't get the bruise out of her mind and wonders if it's some strange ability to control anomalies. Ultimately, Behemoth walks up to the anomaly and decides to neutralize it without slaying it. As soon as she touches it, her bruise starts to shine and begins overwriting the target. It then displays all the information regarding the anomaly and removes everything that might make it harmful to humans. After everything is set and done, that giant, scary-looking anomaly turns into an adorable baby seal. They end up taking the baby seal home, where the president's assistants take a good look at it but can't seem to figure out how something like that is possible. However, Sonko already knows that this is Behemoth's doing, as the anomaly's whole body was reconstructed thanks to her bruise. Now that the mission is over, everyone says their goodbyes and goes their separate way. While Elsie and Quatter start planning on stopping by a cafe to fill their stomachs, Sonko can't get Behemoth out of her mind, and she begins planning to make nuggets of that witch if she does anything bad to Tajiro. Elsie notices the expression on Sanko's face, which sparks an idea in her mind. With that, she suggests moving nearby and getting a place next to Tajiro, but Sonko instantly realizes that something is suspicious and questions if she's up to no good again. Elsie argues by saying that Sonko can't seem to live without thinking of Tajiro and says that, since they are going to be in Japan for a while, looking for a place nearby would be optimal. Eventually, the three of them pay a visit to the real estate office where Cleopatra's husband digs up some properties for them. But even at this point, Sonko can't seem to figure out what's going on and starts by asking the reason Quatter tagged alone. He lets her know that it seemed fun and mentions how wonderful it is to buy a house in order to be close to the man she's fallen in love with. Annoyed, Sonko lets him know that it's Elsie's idea, and after hearing their conversation, the property dealer figures that Sonko's goal is force herself into the picture and make a perfect harem home, prompting her to almost cut him in half. Sonko then remembers the time when she first met Tajiro, but didn't care much at the time. As Tajiro continued to accompany her and train hard, she eventually started to come around, showing signs that she cared. One day, when the two of them were fighting a giant lizard, it was about to attack Sonko when out of nowhere, Tajiro came in front of the attack and got wounded in the face. Frustrated, Sonko told him to focus on his own fight instead of worrying about others, but he refused, telling Sonko that he did it for her because she didn't abandon him. The reason he never wants to leave Sonko alone to get hurt is because she is a super kind person. Shockingly, even after they managed to defeat that anomaly lizard, he apologized to it, making Sonko realize that he genuinely doesn't want anyone to get hurt, which even includes anomalies. Back in the present, the old man decides to look for a house away from Tajiro's place, only to be interrupted by Sonko, who tells him to find one as close to Tajiro as possible. But after blurting it out loud, Sonko realizes what she just said, but it doesn't stop Elsie from rage-baiting her again. Eventually, the two girls manage to find themselves an apartment, and once again, Quatter appears out of nowhere. When she questions his presence, he lets her know that they are neighbors, which shouldn't be surprising, as this neighborhood has a lot of military personnel living there. Not only that, but the president also lives nearby, and seeing what happened with Behemoth, it's only natural that they live close by to monitor the area. Just as things started to calm down, Quatter and Elsie started to tease Sonko again for wanting to live close to Tajiro, making her flustered and wanting to rain down hell on them.